Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Uh, Thank you for being here so early in the morning. And as usual, uh, the 18th version of the Pakistan breakfast, in which we have always do along with Martin Dow Group. The only thing today I miss is my friend Javed, who died a few months ago, and who actually has cooperated with me for the last 4 years. And it was very touching for me when he died, and we had a terrific relationship. He came, and it was very touching for me when he died, when the family came to me and said one of the last wishes that he had was that we should continue this relationship. And this was on when he was in hospital bed. So let me please recognize for a second the late Javed Akhai, what he meant. And he was a great man otherwise. He used to do a lot of other things, which I'm sure his son will to talk about. But I'm going to keep this short, and we are very grateful for the Chief Justice, only a few days after his retirement. And obviously, we'll talk more about what he has done to be a game changer for Pakistan. And then again, we have with us Jam Kamal Saab. And I tell you, it's a revelation, because she is the Chief Minister of Balochistan, representing Pakistan in Davos, is really something. It is really something. And not only that, the way he's expressed himself in two places, it was absolutely fabulous. And I want to acknowledge that. So without further ado, I'm going to request, before anybody says anything else, I'm going to request, because Merrick from the World Economic Forum is here, and he has to go. And, he said that if I leave and I have a seat missing, so let me sit down and speak from the floor. And so thank you, Merrick, and we'd like to say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. A warm welcome on behalf of the World Economic Forum. I really came here this morning to mainly thank you for cultivating this great, long relationship between the World Economic Forum and Pakistan. It's an amazing relationship, an amazing partnership that we have. And Ikram, I think you've been driving this story for the World Economic Forum in Pakistan, I understand, over 25 years. So I think it's one of the unique partnerships that we have around the world, and I just wanted to underscore that. I also know that you've been involved with us on a number of pioneering initiatives. One of them is Partnership Against Corruption initiative, which is something that I think could not be more important for today's world, and I'd like to commend you on that, and we hope to be working with you more on that in the coming years. The other thing I know that you've worked with us on is technology. As you know, we are gathered here under the theme Globalization 4.0. We say that we have entered a new wave of globalization that we believe is driven mainly by the Fourth Industrial Revolution. So I have two jobs at the World Economic Forum. I am the head of the Middle East and North Africa, and then I am coordinating overall our government relations. So in my Middle East job, I work a lot on the Fourth Industrial Revolution and what it means particularly for the Arab world. We work a lot with startups, and we also help decision makers to really put in place the policies necessary to react to the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And I'd like to promise you that we'd like to work with Pakistan on the Fourth Industrial Revolution and what it means for the Pakistani economy. So you have a new political representation in your countries, so you could say you have a new political chapter, you have a new economic chapter, and the World Economic Forum is looking forward to being part of that. So thank you for being here, and wishing you a good breakfast. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Merrick. Thank you very much. Ali, would you please?
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor and a privilege to host all of you here. It's an emotional day for me. My father's not here. It was only 3 months ago he passed away, and he's the one who's been sharing the stage with all the distinguished chief of guests. I would like to share his vision with all of you. What was the reason behind him coming and hosting this event? The reason was simple: to showcase the positive image of Pakistan. And how do we do that? Well, as a country, we have a lot of positive aspects. We have a lot of positive facts which I'm going to share with you. But having said that, we need to do our own little bit in what way we can. And I would like to share you a little story of how he did his own bit, and he wanted to do more, but unfortunately he couldn't. So he wanted Pakistan to be recognized on a global venue. He wanted Pakistan to be recognized internationally. So he took the opportunity that he had. He had his own company by the name of Martin Dow. He expanded globally, and he chose France for various reasons to set up a global footprint. And when he interacted with the French government, with the then President François Hollande, the response that he got was so warm and welcoming that we were even surprised that people want to work with Pakistan, and they also believe that Pakistan is a country that can bring change to their economy and to their country. So that's the reason why we are here. We are here to talk about Pakistan, to talk about the positive things of Pakistan. There's a lot to offer. We are like, if I share some of the facts, the United Nations Trade Organization ranked Pakistan as one of the most beautiful and friendliest places. But what they said with that fact, that the image needs to be changed. And how is it going to be changed? Well, that is up to all of us, all of you sitting over there in the audience and all of us sitting over here. It's going to take each and every one of us to take bit by bit, and then only this nation can have a positive image on a global level. So I would like to thank all of you for being here, and may God be with Pakistan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everybody. On behalf of the Pathfinder group and Martin Dow, I'd like to welcome you to the annual Pakistan breakfast at the World Economic Forum. It's been a tradition long and cherished for almost 18 years now. I'd like to welcome the Chief Justice. Thank you, sir, for being here. A towering personality in Pakistan that has done much to change the narrative in Pakistan and really set us up a future that looks bright and corruption-free, hopefully. But that's the path that we've been on. Chief Minister Balochistan, who you'll hear from shortly, thank you, sir, for being here as well. We welcome you. I think there is a wonderful story that is happening in the province that probably gets the least press, and I think there's a wonderful story to be told over there, not just from a historical, geographical perspective, not just CPEC, but I think there is a wonderful transformational movement going there, and the Chief Minister is very much part of it. So thank you for being here. I'll take my time to talk about one particular issue that has been very near and dear to my heart and to my wife Kashmala's heart as well. Education and education reform in Pakistan. We've been part of the Citizens Foundation. I was president of the board for 8 years, and I've been part of TCF for over 12 years now. We've built a number of schools in Pakistan. But really, the critical aspect is, you heard Mirek talk about the fourth industrial revolution. We are in the middle of it. This is no longer the future. The future is upon us. The generation today and the generation to come will grow up in a world very different from what you and I see. Nanotechnology, 3D printing, autonomous cars, solar power, wind farms, these are all now part of the landscape. These are part of the discussion. So what really Pakistan needs to do, other than obviously the private sector investing in education, is really a targeted focus in public sector spending, which I know this present government and the provincial governments are targeting as well, and there's been a big focus as well. But what really is needed is an investment in science and technological areas which will make Pakistan leap forward. And really in these particular aspects, artificial intelligence, let me assure you, will be a true game changer for developing countries, because they will be able to now rapidly grow and move faster and develop in a way that brings it on par with the developed world. And I truly believe that if investment is made in these areas, Pakistan will be on its way to a very bright future. By 2050, Pakistan will be the fourth most populous country in the world. Let that sink in. China, the US, India, and then Pakistan. Yes, there are aspects of it that are troubling and worrying, but we must look at it as a positive development as well, and what we can do as an economic market for the world to invest in. And that's part of why we've done the breakfast, is to showcase all the opportunities that Pakistan can bring. An image of Pakistan, as Ali was talking about, a soft image of Pakistan that is friendly to business, open to business, but yet again forward-looking. So with that, thank you very much, and I'll turn over. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
So, I request the Chief Justice now to say a few words.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you very much, Ikram Sahab. The distinguished guests, Chief Minister of Balochistan. Coming here makes me feel that it is only because of you that the presence of Pakistan is being felt in Davos. Though it should have been the government job, that they should have been sponsoring these kind of interactions and the conferences or the symposiums. But God has given you this opportunity to serve the nation, which is commendable. Pakistan is my beloved country. Whenever I count my blessings, believe you me, I do not count Pakistan less than millions. Proud, privileged, and fortunate are the nations which have the country of their own. And unfortunate are those they do not have their own land. We haven't got Pakistan on account of any gift or a bounty given to us. All those, some of you are younger in time, in age, perhaps would have read the history to find and to know that there has been a struggle, a continuous struggle by the Muslims of the subcontinent, which commenced with Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, who thought that without education, the Muslims of the subcontinent, as at that point of time, the subcontinent was being ruled by the British and we were a colony, that Muslims would not be able to progress and develop. Then the dream for an independent country was conceived and seen by Allama Muhammad Iqbal. And the practical touches, after a great struggle and a sacrifice, was given to make Pakistan a reality by Hazrat Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. I've been speaking on various occasions, and I always say that his sacrifice to Pakistan can never be even weighed. He was ill, tremendously ill, and he advised his physician, Colonel Elai Baksh, that don't reveal my illness, because if it is known, I don't see making of Pakistan. And this is so acknowledged by Maulana Muhammad Ali Azad in his book, Independence of Pakistan, and even by Mountbatten, that had we known that Qaid-e-Azam is not going to survive that long, we could have postponed the making of Pakistan, the creation of Pakistan. Believe you me, it is a great sacrifice given by the founding father that we are today a proud Pakistani. We must all be grateful to him, and on account of the love, the sacrifice what he has given in creation of this country, I believe that we owe to him and to our country the affection, the romance, the love which the people should fall in with the country to do good to the people of Pakistan. Today, when I am here and before when I was to come, I was asking Akram Sehgal Saab, what should I speak and what should I say? As per the nature of the occasion, and he said to me, sir, speak whatever you feel like, but all connected to Pakistan. Pakistan is a great country, ladies and gentlemen, with a great potential, with people of intellect and ideas, the people with a love for the country. But unfortunately, there are certain issues. There are certain challenges which we are facing, and we could not achieve the heights of the development which Pakistan should have been in today, and that is, I would speak in seriatim, the first and the utmost is the standards of education in our country. It is most primordial, most important that Pakistan's education system must be improved. Look at the history of the world. Where are the nations standing today, those who have attained education and learning and knowledge centuries ago? And where are the nations standing, including us, those who have very low literacy rate? So the most important, the most significant thing, what as a nation, as a whole, and the governments in particular, we have to perform and do is to improve our education system. Education is not an ordinary right. It's not a simple right. It's a basic right, I would say, in today's time of every person to have the education, because this is connected directly with his progress and also with his survival. We have a fundamental right in our constitution which speaks that it is the duty of the state to provide education to a child or to a citizen from the age of 6 to 16, 5 to 16. Have we provided education? Have we failed? What are the reasons? What are the causes for the failure? Who has to be held responsible for this? Have we ever thought about it? Yes, lately the Supreme Court of Pakistan has done this exercise. Supreme Court had constituted a committee for the purposes of finding out not only the causes of the low rate of education in Pakistan, but also how to revamp the educational setup. This was a high-powered committee which was chaired by the ombudsman, and we included not only the top educationists, but also the representative of all the provinces, including the federal government. And I must share with you that the committee has given us a report which has been shared with the governments of the provinces, which has been shared with the federal government, and it is to the luck of the people of Pakistan, and also, I would say, a credit to the Supreme Court of Pakistan that the committee's report has been accepted in letter and spirit without there being a change of comma. So this is one thing which I feel that the Supreme Court has done in direction to the enforcement of fundamental rights. I'll explain it to you even briefly, then I'll be answering your questions. That fundamental rights are so important in one's constitution, in one's country, that there cannot be any other ordinary right which can be of the same pedestal or nature. In our constitution, which we luckily got after 23 years, as you all know, that the first constitution we got was in 1956, after a long struggle, and that too did not stay for long. We had certain grund norms. It was the first Constituent Assembly which had created the Constitution. And what's a Constitution? Constitution is a contract of every single individual of the country, every single citizen of the country with the other citizen. And it is one of the very important social contract which has the most important legal foundations to follow. No country without a proper constitution can progress or even survive. We are lucky that we have a constitution. We are lucky that we have fundamental rights. We have 23 fundamental rights. And out of those, the most important right, to my understanding and to my mind, is the right to life. It's Article 9, which provides that every person would have a right to live. And the life doesn't mean a life just like a vacuum, just like a life without all the traits, all the qualities of a life. And one of the most important quality, undoubtedly, is the education I've spoken about. And secondly is the health. The second thing which I would like to apprise you about is that enforcement of these fundamental rights, while performing our duty, the Supreme Court of Pakistan again has taken steps. We had constituted a very high-level committee while exercising our jurisdiction under Article 184.3, which I'll explain it to you in a moment. And that committee had given us the foundational laws for the healthcare revamping. And today, with the grace of God Almighty, we have also got a legislation pursuant to the recommendations which were made by that high-level and high-powered committee, which was the PMDC, comprising of the law secretary, the secretary for health, all the vice chancellors of the universities, the medical universities, the prominent doctors. Two of them were the journals, one Journal Zahid and Journal Imran. They have made such an absolutely perfect policy. It is now the question of implementation. And yesterday I was speaking to somebody that what is lacking in Pakistan. I feel, sir, ladies and gentlemen, it is only the implementation part. The models are available. We know what we are deficient in, what we should do. We have the models. People in Pakistan are intellectual. I have so much faith in my posterity, in my youth. They are so ahead of us. We are now the old people, that they have come up with the ideas. They have the ideas. It is only the will of the state, the will of the people of Pakistan, which has to be given effect in letter and spirit. The second important aspect and the second important thing what the Supreme Court has done is the revamping and the resolutions given, the solutions provided for the health sector. I can go into details about it. It may take hours for me to explain that I've been personally visiting the hospitals, which, yes, ordinarily was not one of my jobs as the Chief Justice of Pakistan. I should not have gone there. But once it had come to my knowledge that the tertiary hospitals, they do not have the operating setups. They do not have the essential equipment to treat the people. They are understaffed. The doctors and the paramedic staffs is on hartal and on strikes. People are standing in queues. The whole day they have to stand in a line to get the medicine. And when they reach after 2 hours to the window, they are apprised this medicine is not available to you. As a developing country, we had to now sift from the laissez-faire to a welfare state. And it is the duty of the welfare state that it should provide the medical care system to its citizens, those who cannot afford. Do you know that obviously it is the initiative of the government? I would not like to take any attribute or privilege for the Supreme Court. This is the initiative of the government of Pakistan, that they have now issued healthcare cards for the people, those who cannot afford their medicine. It's a very nice scheme. But what the Supreme Court has contributed, that this was done in a transparent manner while giving the quotation, asking for the quotations. And one of the insurance company, that is the official insurance company in Pakistan, the difference between the low bidder and the highest bidder, which was the official company, there was a difference of about 153 rupees on the card. They were expensive. The Supreme Court of Pakistan had taken the initiative. And do you believe, Kashmala, on whose initiative? The government had applied to the Supreme Court that we must intervene and we must require or play some role or pass a direction that this concession, the discount must be given by the state life insurance company. It was very simple for me when I asked the state insurance company. After a few comments, they agreed to. And for that, 6 lakh families are now included and having the cover of the insurance in Pakistan. So we have to develop. We have to show the honesty of purpose. We have to apply to the modern techniques. We have to apply the modern rules, the models. But the question again would be the honesty of purpose and that of implementation. This is maybe going to take very long, but I must apprise you, the people have been critic that the Supreme Court for the last 2 years have been overactive. Yeah, there are 2 aspects of any judicial system. It is one, the judicial activism, and the second is the judicial restraint. There is very thin line between the 2. But as far as the foundational part, the enforcement of fundamental rights is concerned, I think we should not have put ourselves under judicial restraints. Rather, the only solution to the people of Pakistan for alleviating their miseries was the judicial activism, but with caution and care. I would like to remind you, I would like to share with you, I'm making a loud and a very candid assertion today that in my understanding, Pakistan's Supreme Court has not transgressed its authority and has not crossed the line of judicial restraint. Rather, Pakistan's Supreme Court and its superior judiciary has acted absolutely in line with the duty which has been cast upon the courts. I'll be making 2 comments over here. First, fundamental rights, as I apprised you, the right to life and education and health are the primordial rights which are provided in the Constitution. And the duty is cast upon the higher judiciary in terms of Article 199 of the Constitution. It's a separate provision altogether. Though Article 199 speaks about the mandamus, and you must be knowing about what the mandamus is, where the courts can require a person to do something which he or she is required to do, or ask him not to do something which he is not required to do. This is the mandamus petition and the direction given by the Superior Court. But there is a separate provision altogether in Article 199C, which speaks that it shall be the duty of the High Court to enforce the fundamental rights. Kindly look at the spirit of the Constitution. Look at the command of the Constitution, that we have been made obligated, we are bound. And this is also a special provision which is provided in the article, a command, a mandate in the Constitution, that we have to enforce the fundamental right of the people of Pakistan. We are left with no discretion. Once you have come to know that there is a violation of a fundamental right of the people of Pakistan, the courts are not left, to my understanding, and clear verdicts are given, and the clear jurisprudence we have developed till date. In that eventuality, the superior courts are left with no discretion. Discretion goes altogether away, It is the duty of the Supreme Court and the higher judiciary to enforce it. I know the constraint of my time, but two comments I would like to further make. One thing is about the water. This is starting with Quetta, Jamshab. I was there in Quetta, but I had some idea that Pakistan, unfortunately, is a water-stressed country, and while in Karachi, this tanker mafia and the Manshar Jheel and the interior Sindh canals, these things were coming to my notice, and a commission had already been constituted for that purpose, headed by a Supreme Court retired judge. We were working on that, but I went to Quetta, and it was 6 o'clock in the evening. Both the ex-chief ministers were present in the court with regard to education and some other issues. I was to ask them. Mr. Zari and Dr. Malik, both the ex-chief ministers, when I spoke about the water issue, they said, sir, our water level has gone down to an extent. Unfortunately, there may be a situation that the entire Quetta has to migrate one day. What a beautiful valley it has been. What a beautiful, peaceful, and one of the great part of the country where I've seen that lake, the Henna Lake. Henna Lake. So many lakes. About 4 months ago, not 4 months, about 4 weeks ago, I went to Henna Lake. And do you know, Jamsab, there is not an inch of water in that lake, which used to be a beautiful lake over there. So this is the water stress and I became conscious of that. Starting from Quetta, then we started on with the campaign, we constituted the committees, and they gave us the report that what is going to happen to Pakistan in near futures to come. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to share with you something very painful. And that is, for the last 40 years, these dams have been on the agenda of the government. Why these dams had not been constructed? Why have we not performed our duty? Who's to be held responsible and accountable for that? Is there no criminal negligence in this? We are wasting our millions of cubic, which is being sent to the sea, that too effluent and with polluted water. But this is the first time the Pakistan Supreme Court has taken notice of it, and Pakistan Supreme Court has done it in accordance with the provisions of Article 9 of the Constitution, which is the right to life, because without water, there would be no conceivable life on the earth. Why is this earth unique? I keep on asking myself. I keep on asking my audience and my friends, why is this earth unique? It's unique only because it has life on it. Otherwise, earth, like any other planet, would have been a barren altogether. But it has life, and life is dependent upon two things. One is the water, the other is the air. Unfortunately, we have polluted our air also. And I can count a lot of steps and the measures which have been taken by the Supreme Court for the purposes of cleaning our environment. Lot of. And as far as the water is concerned, we have directed the government, and Alhamdulillah, I think the government has responded very promptly, and on the basis we have even done our preliminaries. The WABDA chairman was talking to me about maybe about a few weeks ago, that things which were pending for the last so many years and which could take about few years for the purposes of resolving the preliminaries or doing it, those have been achieved in weeks' time. And let me further apprise you that I did not open or started the campaign for collection of the fund for the purpose of construction of the dam. General Sahab, I know the dam cannot be made with the collections of the donations, which may extend to an amount of maybe 20 billion rupees, because these dams requires more than 1,500 billions. But it was a campaign. People are now in romance people are in love, and I have examples of the small kids coming with the pocket money. They have sold their toys, do you believe, to generate money. This is the campaign. This is something I wanted to cultivate, inculcate in my people, that they must now put everything for compelling the government to make the dam, and alhamdulillah, to an extent, we have been able to achieve that object. The second important thing is about the population control. You know, every day we have a birth of 14,000 children. Every day. And our population is going to grow to 45 crore in 30 years' time. We have done nothing for the last so many years, only perhaps on account of that we were not making people aware of this curse which is going to fall on us. And secondly, maybe on account of some our clergy, that they were opposed to the population control. But alhamdulillah, again, it is the Supreme Court. I'm not trying to take every appreciation for the Supreme Court, no. But these are the efforts which are on the paper. These are the efforts which are visibly known to everybody. That Pakistan Supreme Court again constituted a committee for the purposes of proposing a task force as to how do we combat this explosion of the population growth in Pakistan. They have given us a very comprehensive plan, and again I'm thankful to the government of Pakistan that they have accepted the plan, the task force suggestions without any change in the common. So things are improving in Pakistan. I normally count that 4 aspects are very important for the development and growth of every country. And I have a historical evidence to that. First, utmost, and the most important is education and learning, knowledge. Second is good quality, great quality of leadership, credible people coming into power. They are the only people who can deliver. And we need to have somebody like Hazrat Umar Khattab Sani in Pakistan, who must first apply all those which he should preach for and ask for the nation to do. The third important and the very critical aspect is the rule of law, a good justice system, powerful, independent, because what Thurgood Marshall has said, a great judge of America, that one of the scourge which the heavens can inflict upon a sinning society is corrupt, partial, and incompetent judiciary. So this is a great virtue of any judicial system. This is the third component for the progress of the country. And the fourth, undoubtedly, is the honesty of purpose. A clean society where there should be no corruption. Corruption is the most critical and devastating factor. And unfortunately, I'm not making any reference to anybody. People like you are well aware as to what has been going on in Pakistan. This is the first time that the Supreme Court of Pakistan, without any discrimination, without any love, or without any fear, or without, I would say, any partiality, has taken on very strong people. I'm not making deliberate reference to the cases which we have taken note of and which are pending, and some of the cases are very ripe. So one thing I want to apprise you, that now the culture of corruption, in fact, is going to be buried very soon. And I see great hope that my country has taken off. And inshallah, with the help of each and everybody, I'm very, very sure that we are going to be one of the respected, reverent nations of the world. And this is all what we have to pursue. This is all what we have to do for our country. We must fall in love. Normally, I don't have the expression to say that in English language. मैं कहा करता हूँ इश्क करें, अपने मुल्क से इश्क करें, जैसे आप किसी इंसान से इश्क करते हैं, अपने ज़ाती इश्क को देखते हैं, अपने माँ बाप से इश्क करते हैं, अपने बच्चों से इश्क करते हैं. आप देखिए कि आप अपना बेस्ट देते हैं. मैंने बहुत दफ़ा ये कहा है कि इस कौम में जो लोग इक़्तिदार में हैं, the people those who are in power, the people those who have been given, casted with the duty to do something for Pakistan, they must give their best only for 1 year. 1 साल के लिए मैं उनसे मांगता हूँ कि 1 साल का बेस्ट दे दे अपना, in terms of your integrity, in terms of your capability, in terms of your ability, in terms of your honesty of purpose, and then look at the results which will produce. Amazing results. और आपको एडिक्शन हो जाएगी, जो उसके रिजल्ट्स आएंगे वो एक एडिक्शन होगी कि जी अब हमने ख़राबी नहीं करनी, क्योंकि मेरी इस मेहरबानी से, मेरी इस बेस्ट देने से मेरी कौम को ये फ़ायदा पहुँचा है. और ये जब आपको फ़ायदा नज़र आएगा ना, आप रिवर्ट नहीं करेंगे उस ख़राबी की तरफ जो अनफॉर्चुनेटली आज तक पाकिस्तान के लिए एक मैस की सूरत में है. मेरी और आप सबकी यही दुआ होनी चाहिए कि हमें पाकिस्तान के लिए और सिर्फ पाकिस्तान के लिए अपनी ज़िंदगियाँ वक्फ करनी है. ये वक्त है डू और डाई का. अगर आज हमने पाकिस्तान से मुखलिस होके पाकिस्तान को जो हमारी पे बैक टाइम है, जो मेरे एज के लोग हैं, उन्होंने नहीं दिया, तो ये हम अपनी पॉस्टेरिटी से सारी ताहयात हम शर्मिंदा रहेंगे. हिस्ट्री हमें कभी इसके लिए माफ़ नहीं करेगी. पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद.
Chief Justice, thank you for your very eloquent remarks. And I think I must say this, that a year ago, more than a little year ago, when we were thinking of having a presence of Balochistan in Davos, Senator Anwar Kakar, I must acknowledge, was the person who said, and he didn't, of course, enlighten me of the political games that were going on at that time, but he said that you will soon see an absolute change in the leadership in Pakistan, in Balochistan. And today we are absolutely exactly on the lines that you're saying. We are honored and privileged to put that one young leader, the Chief Minister of Balochistan, representing Pakistan today. Thank you, Chief Minister.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Sehgal Sahib, it's again an opportunity for me to be here. And it's an honor to be representing my country over here on behalf of government of Balochistan and on behalf of government of Pakistan. Though the government has, as the Chief Justice said, the federal government should have been here, but we do count that the government of Balochistan is replacing the federal government's responsibilities, and I'm very much over here. And I'll try to put up to really explain what the Chief Justice has been extensively briefed you about how things were in Pakistan and how things are currently in Pakistan and how do we see it in the coming future. The word change is coming in Pakistan, and for the last 6-8 months we have seen a lot of things changing in Pakistan. How the political scenario has changed, how we're seeing accountability coming in Pakistan. And like the Chief Justice himself said, people could have not thought about few things which are currently happening in Pakistan. There's a very big deliberation of change of how Pakistan should be, how things are, what are concerns, what is there for Pakistan in the upcoming future, and so many other things. I try to focus myself on a few things and try to really tell the audience what as a provincial government are our first priorities and what I think and what our coalition government thinks should be the main responsibility of a government. We talk about education, health, law and order, making the economy better, making things, the infrastructure system in place, and so many other things. But as a government, if you don't have good practices, if you don't have a good structure of good governance, if you don't place in the right people for the right job, and if you don't have the right environment where people can show what they can do for the government and for the nation, it's really impossible to achieve all those targets. Or to manage the schools, to bring up healthcare, to bring up good opportunities for people, for what they can produce, and even to an extent of managing the serious issues like water and many other things. So what our government has really focused in is that we have to really put up a very good governance structure. And what does really come in all those sectors, what really can make good governance implementable in Balochistan and in Pakistan, there are certain things which we all have to put in. After being the Chief Minister of the province, we have been there for now really 5 months. It's not that I'm new to Balochistan, I've been in the system for a very long time. We all really know what Balochistan is all about, how Pakistan is, how things function in Pakistan. But in my point of view, I feel that for the last 15, 20 years, we have really not invested in our systems, the systems which exist in Pakistan. The organizations that we have, the authorities we have, the departments that we have, for the last 15 years have been totally neglected. And because of that neglection, whether it was because of the political interest was not there or because of how things were in Pakistan, there can be many reasons. But I feel all that has really brought down many of the issues which the Honorable Chief Justice has been talking today and has highlighted very in detail. So we have a lot of choices to make. Either we try to reinvent the wheel again, or we try to adopt the good practices which do exist globally also. Or maybe even in Pakistan, there are the few provinces, there are few organizations which have really lifted up their organization setups and have really adopted good practices. Balochistan, when we talk about Balochistan, I think so all these things are quite alien to the air, that how can a province which is so backward, which is so less human resource capacity wise, which does not really have a good economy of its own, which has gone through a very turmoil time of like 30, 40 years, can come up with things which can really put up examples for other provinces too. But we believe Balochistan has a lot of capacity in terms of its people, and there is a will. But what has not really been given is the right platform to people to come up with what they can do and what they can perform. So how do we start? We're quite lucky enough that the same changes come in Pakistan at the federal level also. The Prime Minister and his government, I'm sure it's not that I'm trying to praise the federal government of what they have, what they can do for Pakistan, but what we are seeing and what we are witnessing in terms of many subjects and many things, it's a sign that we are now going towards a good direction. And that is that we have to place in the systems in Pakistan. There's a lot of need to really uplift, to update, to bring in new legislation, to really reform the legislative system, to bring in new amendments, to really change the acts that are in our law, and bringing the right required thing for the right time, which is currently. We have been facing a lot of financial, administrative development crisis in Balochistan, and that's one factor where accountability comes in. Like the Chief Justice said, that a society might not function if there's no justice in it, and if there's no accountability and there are no good practices of governance. So we have to really place in all these three things to make sure the true potential of that place, that government comes up, or that province comes up, or the people of that province or the people of Pakistan really come up with what they truly can deliver to their country. For us, it's what a big challenge as coming up as a new government, because the practices in the past, like it was mentioned that two chief ministers, ex-chief ministers, they came in and they showed a lot of their emotions were maybe, I'm not talking about whether the intentions were good or not, But as a result, what we saw in Balochistan, all those practices were not placed good in the system. So if you don't put in the right things in the system, obviously the result is going to come in negative. If you don't manage your water system properly, yes, it's going to deplete. If you're going to not spend your money, the public's money, in the right required areas, your infrastructure will not benefit to the people and to the economy of that area. If you're not placing in the right people in the education system, in the health system, your institutes, your facilities, your schools will not deliver to the mark which you are expecting. So the whole system needs to be addressed. We have to do an analysis of the system that we have. We have to really see the weaknesses that the system has, the potential the system should have, the areas which need legislation, the areas which need financial assistance, the places which lack infrastructure development, and all these things clubbed in and in the right manner, in the right place, will then bear the right results. So it's very important a governance structure should have all these things in place, and that's how then is going to have a very result-oriented mechanism or a governance structure. Well, it's not easy in Pakistan, and especially in Balochistan, because while focusing on all these things, we have a major crisis in quality human resource. And so in order to achieve all these things, you need to have a very high quality human resource output. And at the same time, you need to have a government structure in which you can place all these people. However, the service structure that we have in the government system does not really allow in such kind of fresh ideas or fresh people to come in and with whatever output they can give in order to make the performance better. So we have to give in a lot of efforts in making all these changes. And that's what I think the federal government and the provincial governments are doing, which for the last 15, 20 years was not done in Pakistan. We are more focused on cosmetics politics, try to get short-term benefits, and not really think of what is going to happen maybe after 20, 30 years. So we need long-term planning, we need mid-term planning, and yes, we do have to plan in the short-term requirements which we require in our society in terms of its many issues that we are facing nowadays. But I'm quite optimistic that the way things have been changing in Pakistan from the last 1 year, it has really given our people a hope. It has given the people who are outside Pakistan as Pakistanis, they are witnessing the improvements which are happening for Pakistan. And that's one thing which I think it's really important. It's not what people see as a big change. It's basically the intention which really matters in our society. If the people of Pakistan see a good intention and they see a little move in that, I believe that the people really support all these kinds of steps which the government might take in, or even to an extent an individual might take in. It was a small yes in terms of, I truly agree with the Chief Justice that 20 billion might not work it out. And there are a lot of people who talk about it also very openly. That how is it possible that you're going to make dams from these small contributions? But it was the thought which really has made people to come out and try to chip in their part in making Pakistan better also. And that's what we require. We require the right people to come in politics, in the system, in the right places, so that we see what potential these all places have in Pakistan, and we try to go and achieve them and achieve the required targets in those places. Balochistan is the biggest province in Pakistan in terms of its landmass. It really occupies something like 44%, but when you include the sea territory in Balochistan too, it goes something to like 51%. It's a very backward province, rightly said, because the infrastructure of that province is at a very low level. And it has a very less dense population, which makes it very difficult in terms of administration and in terms of spending a lot of money, try to take all the facilities and services to the people. So it's a situation where we have less opportunity in terms of finances, and we have huge challenges in terms of really improving this infrastructure. But I feel for the last 5 months, what we have been seeing mostly, and I'm being witnessed in the last government also, it's not the financial amount which, or the quantum which is there, it's basically how are we using it. And I feel 60 to 70% the usage of that money which is supposed to be in different sector is being done wrong. It's totally, the practices are totally based on wrong data or wrong decision-making practices, where a lesser population is benefiting and the larger population is not, where all that infrastructure is not being placed in the right places. So if we do these kind of decisions and these kind of practices, and obviously the result is going to come not in a very good shape. So it's very important for the governance structure in Pakistan to improve. And that's the only key, I feel. We can have the best systems, we can have the best laws, we can have the best written, documented rules and regulations, which we have in Pakistan. But like it's been said that we're not implementing it, because the mode of implementing all those laws are going to be by that system, which is the government. And if the government is not practicing the right things, and it's not really taking up the right people to deliver all those things, it's not possible to deliver or trickle down that whole effect to the masses. So once again, I think so it's very important for us to bring in the good practices in the government structure, to bring in the right people. It's not easy. It's not easy in Pakistan, because even if you feel that there are a lot of people who are not up to the mark, so it's very difficult through the service structure to take them out. It's not like in a multinational that once anybody is not performing, it's simple that you can simply tell him you have this time period and you can just finish off with your job and you can just search for another one. In Pakistan, it's easy to recruit somebody, but it's really difficult to take them out. And you have to bear with them for 30 years' time. So I think so it's high time we have to bring in changes. And that's one part in education and health we are trying to bring in. We're not trying to bring in people on permanent job basis. It's very easy to recruit them on contractual basis, get the right person for the right job, give them a good salary, and make sure that they know that they can, if they don't deliver, that's the way out for them. But in the government service, it's not easy. So we have to bring in reforms if we want to bring in the change, if we want the right people to come in. I'm sure in the private and public sector, there are a lot of people who are jobless. And that's how you can even counter the unemployment in Pakistan too. People might come back to their country, they might chip in into the government structure also, if we make authorities, if we make consortiums of governments with private sector. So there's a lot of room in these kind of places, and that's what we are trying to do. That's how the concept of technology is coming in Pakistan. It's already there. We have a very good setup of cellular networks and high technology and IT infrastructure that we have in Pakistan. We have really good human resource. Pakistan has a very good human resource, which is quite well as compared to many other regions in the world. So, but we have to take the best out of all these people. We have Shaukat Aziz Saab with us over here, and we have Hussain Daud Saab over here with us. And I think so in the private sector, Pakistan has done quite well in many places. So we're quite optimistic. I think so it's that's one thing which we need to have as a Pakistani, that inshallah someday these things are going to improve. And they are improving. And each day passing by, we are seeing new things. We are seeing how the system is changing. We're seeing how people are, how the system is becoming more accountable. We are seeing how the judiciary is trying to bring in the right people so they can give justice to people in the places where they have not been getting it for a very long time. So that's one thing which I would, with that note, I would end it, that this is the story which we want to tell the world now. That it's a changing Pakistan. It's a Pakistan, it's now the future of Pakistan is coming in the hands of right people, and we are very much optimistic how our new generation is coming in. They are more vibrant, they are watching things very closely, and they are making us accountable. As being a politician, I think so, that's the true sense which can really take a Pakistan high. It's the social accountability. No system can change anything. The people of that nation can change the system and the governments. And if the people are willing to change their governments, that's the true sense of change. And that's what's happening in Pakistan through social media, through electronic media, through youth mobilization and many other things. So we have to keep that smile for Pakistan, and we are quite optimistic. Like there's a lot of opportunity for our business communities, the people who are sitting over here. Pakistan is a great country to invest in. And I've seen people coming into hydrocarbon industry, coming into pharmaceutical companies, and coming in Pakistan. A lot of foreign companies are there. They're functioning in Pakistan for the last many years. And we have not seen them wrapping up. Yes, some have because of the global decisions the companies do make. But we have seen those companies expanding. And there's a good potential in upcoming corporate sector in Pakistan, like the upcoming Gwadar project that we have CPEC, we have other venues where we can invest in corporate agriculture, you can invest in mining, you can invest. Pakistan has one of the very good resources of shale gas and oil. That's not really been exploited, has been done in US recently. That has really brought up the change in the US economy. The US was a very big importer of fuel oil, but now it's becoming one of the biggest exporter of oil. So that's how technology has improved. And that's what is going to change Pakistan too. Bringing in the technology, reducing the prices, bringing the right people to work in different sectors, and explore what Pakistan has. So it's a market which has a lot of potential, and its geostrategic location makes it very good to access many global regions. You can have, Africa is one region which is coming up very high. The continent is, it's a metal continent. So Pakistan is one of the closest access areas, and being right in the middle of India, China, Africa, Gulf. So our strategic place of giving Gwadar or Karachi port in terms of transshipment, I think so there are good opportunities where countries can come in and invest in Pakistan. So I think so many of you are from Pakistan, but those who are not from Pakistan, I think so it's a very good time to come into Pakistan, explore all these venues, see what Pakistan is offering to the globe in terms of industrialization, trade, transit, and many other things. So it's the right time, and it's good to be here. And thank you once again, Sahil sir, for giving me the opportunity and to be among the crowd over here. And I hope this all ends up with a positive note. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Shaukat, for joining us. Many years ago, Shaukat would remember that when we were roaming around, and one day Davos was much smaller, it was snowing, and we were standing there, and a car passed by, and somebody got out, Prince Turki, and said, "Shaukat, you need my coat." And I told Shaukat, I said, "You are going to be a Prime Minister of Pakistan." And I told Imran in here that you will be Prime Minister of Pakistan. Both came true. I think we've also heard a future Prime Minister of Pakistan today. And I'm hoping one day my son, who's done far better than I could ever dream about, will also come up that way.
Inshallah.
I am now going to be, we're short of time, but I'm going to give 3 people 1-minute interventions from the floor, because I need them to really talk about Pakistan. And first, I'd like to ask Lieutenant General request Lieutenant General Asim Bajwa, whom I've seen grow in the army, and now he is the GOC Southern Command, which actually includes both Sindh and Balochistan. And very far away when, he's this thing, DG ISPR, and, I was really thinking that he would be posted to Balochistan because he was the right person from both the military and the civilian perspective to do that. So I'm going to request Jan Bajo 1 minute intervention, please.
Very much, sir. I hope you can hear me. Thank you for this opportunity, sir. I think a lot has been said about the change, about the need of Pakistan, and about Balochistan. 1 minute, I think, is a challenge. All I would say is that Balochistan, the security situation is fully under control. The political stability is visible today in the form of the new young chief minister and another young politician from Balochistan. You hear a lot about Gwadar and development of Balochistan. Huge opportunities. Balochistan, there is one region of Chagi and Dalbandin, which is at the junction of three tectonic plates with huge mineral resource, especially all the ladies sitting here, mostly gold and inferred gold. So there are other minerals like chromite and zinc and barite, and you can just go on and on. Gwadar itself, because of its location and its connectivity to the south and to the north, east and west, it offers huge opportunities for regional connectivity and economic integration. I would say, Jan Sahab has said that there are a lot of opportunities there, not only in the field of minerals and infrastructure development in the form of Gwadar port coming up and the petrochemical industries, hydrocarbons, and you can name so many others. We are opening up towards Iran. We are strengthening the border with Afghanistan, opening towards Central Asia. And Pakistan is now going to benefit truly from the potential of Balochistan. And Balochistan will be the harbinger of peace and prosperity for the entire region. And it will strengthen the economy of Pakistan. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. One of the people who have been fighting for justice for Pakistan is Sharmeen Chunai, who's here today. And I request, Sharmeen, for you to take a 1 minute intervention on Pakistan. You can get the mic. Yeah. Mic, yes. The mic would be.
I generally project, so it's fine. Thank you very much. As somebody who lives and works in Pakistan, one of the things that I've noticed very recently is that there's a great drive within a number of young Pakistanis that had chosen to live abroad to come back to the country to start initiatives. Where they may not physically be moving back, but they're investing, starting startups, hiring people, putting things together. And I think that's a very strong signal, because when you have educated Pakistanis who have the opportunity to live away but are moving back to invest and cultivate something, that sends a very strong signal. Another thing that I think as a woman, I've seen that more women are taking the opportunity to go to college, coming out, and entering the workforce. And that also means that when women are contributing, that's going to help the country immensely, both on the economy, but also just generally help women achieve the status that they need to. So everybody who hasn't been one of the things that I would tell you to do is find somebody, go to the country and experience it. We are bringing a number of people to Pakistan to not only experience the country, but also to find opportunity to connect with people so that they can invest. Thank you.
Thank you. I joined the board of East West Institute about 12 years ago. And one of the enduring friendships I have was, based on Ross Perot Jr.'s father, because he came to my son's graduation in Boston University. And really, I looked forward to him, and I got the opportunity to meet him through my friend Ross Perot Jr., who's here. And as soon as we were good friends. As soon as he took over as the chairman of East West Institute, I got the best director of the year in 2013. That was pure nepotism. But I'd like him to say a few words, because I want somebody who's not Pakistani to say a few words about Pakistan. The mic.
Thank you very much. And I think I've been one of your original members of your Pakistani breakfast.
Yes.
I think for almost 18 years I've been here. And Ikram and I have been very good friends, and I'd love to say at this breakfast, Ikram comes to visit not to see me, but he wants to fly the helicopter. And as you know, he is a famous helicopter pilot in Pakistan. He comes to Texas, I put him in the helicopter, and he has not lost his touch. He is still a very good helicopter pilot. I've enjoyed my friendship with Ikram. I've enjoyed my time in Pakistan. In 1982, I flew a helicopter around the world. And so I've seen Pakistan from 500 feet. And it's a fabulous country, fabulous people, and it does have great potential. And to be the fourth largest population in the world shows your economic power and your might. And as a businessman working around the world, to hear about the opportunities in the technology sector, in the energy sector, and the overall business sector, it makes me very optimistic. And certainly Pakistan and the United States government have had a long-term relationship. We've had certainly the war on terror we have fought together. So there are deep relationships between the countries, and I look forward to working, continue, Ikram, with your family, and I look forward to your next breakfast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I have time for just 2-3 short questions from the floor, because then I have to wind up, and I can see. Yes, sure. Anurag, please.
Thank you for this forceful utterance on my part. But I feel, if I keep the timeline of a minute, the change I foresee in Pakistan's politics and its political landscape is that the kleptocracy is on the decline and it's about to be buried. And I foresee a newly emerging political class, which is, as far as the outlook is concerned, from the lower middle class to middle class, people you could relate to, you could have a conversation with over a breakfast, lunch, or dinner, people who believe not just on democracy and elected government, but on accountable government. So they are transforming from civilian supremacy to civilian accountability, which is the modern trend, which is the forthcoming trend at a global level. And people are more participatory in terms of governance and in terms of being part of the overall structure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Two questions from the floor. We have enough time. 2 questions. Anybody? If there's nobody, then I can wind up.
No, there is.
She wants to ask.
Who is there? Bettina. Let me just introduce Dr. Bettina and myself. We've written a book together, 1971 Revisited. We with the Oxford University Press. The reviews are somebody didn't like it, somebody liked it. They've gone to a third person, so we don't know whether the book is going to be published by them or not.
My question would be for the Chief Justice. You have done so much to initiate, to give an impulse to things to change. And rightly you have said that the real problem is the implementation. To make a good plan is one thing, but to implement it is another one. We know that right now Dr. Ishrat Hussain is heading a commission that it is trying to reform the administrative service of Pakistan, which would be a cornerstone of this change, of implementation. But we also hear that the plans for reform are not welcomed by the bureaucracy itself. So is there any opportunity, possibility that you or the one who comes after you could give another push in the right direction in this field? Thank you.
Yeah, I think that there should be another push to the bureaucracy, but one thing I would take the opportunity when Shaukat Aziz Saab is also here, he has been administering the country for a long time. It is unfortunately one of the I would say main vice of my country is the failure of the bureaucracy at this point of time. Little short of the menace of the terrorism, the second biggest challenge and threat is on account of that. We do need a change, we do need the reforms, but there need to be a will also. And there need to be an urge amongst the bureaucracy that they should be independent and should have their own say. I feel that they acting under the forced command, which the expression I use is the dictated exercise of jurisdiction. And once they come out of the dictated exercise jurisdiction regime, I believe that the bureaucracy shall be able to perform well. These kinds of reforms are already there. These kind of things have already been put into force and everything. But the real question is whether those are practiced or those are not practiced. I feel there is a lack of implementation in the practice also.
Thank you. Amir, one question, please. Go ahead. This is the last question because we've got short of time.
My name is Samir Dosal and I represent the Canada-Pakistan Business Council, and my comments are really directed to the Chief Minister. We've been hearing you speak phenomenal, excellently excited with the vision of Pakistan that's happening. My only suggestion and comment would be that there are a whole bunch of people of Pakistani origin living in all parts of the world, particularly in the 7 countries. And my humble request would be to try and see how well you can engage with them. Dr. Aziz Saab is also familiar with the workings of the Canada-Pakistan Business Council, and there are many councils all around. And that's something that you may want to comment on.
All right. I guess I think so. It's the right time where we really engage with people who are outside and they can really give their best services in any terms. As even I've witnessed it myself, people who want to be volunteers, just want to just come in and chip in a little bit, try to give their expertise. We are trying to make a mechanism, try to explore such venues from a perspective of a government of Balochistan. We try to engage with countries, we are trying to engage with societies, we are trying to engage with our own people also. This is, I think so, the first one of its kind step that we have taken in, and we are planning it, inshallah, in many other parts of the world also. And we'll be looking forward to coming to another snowy area again, inshallah, maybe. And we'll try to explore that, and I'll be in touch with you also. We'll do definitely see that.
Thank you. I think if we don't wind up now, Stagenberger is going to make us wash dishes here. First, let me thank all my friends. Mr. Hussain Dawood, despite the fact that he had other engagements, had to leave, and he's one of the titans of our industry. Really has contributed all his resources within Pakistan. So absolutely, and thankfully his wife is here, Kulsum, and I would like to convey through Kulsum how much we look up to him as a person and as a professional and as a businessman. Thank you very much. I would like to thank all of you personally. Many of you are sitting in the audience. My Jewish cousin, Mark Siegel, is here. And you know, what he has done for security in Pakistan is nobody's business. The way he took us from a good company to one of the best companies, security service company in the world, acknowledged as such by ASIS, is nobody's business. And I really thank you and Melinda for being here. And similarly, a lot of you have come, particularly members of the media are here, etc. In the end, what a brilliant session, I would say, because thank you, Chief Justice, for having come at very short notice. You believe me. It was just, even though I walked in, he saw it, the decision was immediate. And even though the time was short, and the Swiss are very nice, and they gave him a visa for 4 days only, but it worked. And then the Chief Minister, of course, did not have it. Senator Kakar, of course, had to go and get the visas. So all of you who have contributed to this, I thank you. I thank the Khai family, Ali, yourself, Anam, who's here, sitting here, and how much they remind me of their father, I really, because their maturity and all. And I look forward to the Sehgal family, led by Zarar in the future, and Ali and Anam, to work together to keep this thing alive. Because we believe in Pakistan, we believe that Pakistan's image should be projected, taken away from the negative perceptions about Pakistan to the positive images of Pakistan. And when somebody in the private from here in the audience last year asked Shahid Khakan Abbasi this question, and he said, why doesn't the government contribute towards it? He said, if we contribute towards it, what you're having here will not also happen. So I think really, we are privileged to have this image of Pakistan. We're privileged to have you, Chief Justice, here. We're privileged to have you, Chief Minister, here. And we look forward, as one of the persons who has done such a lot for Pakistan, absolute game changer for everything that Pakistan, the accountability process that we've been dreaming about has come and is going to be sustained, because that he's done by putting in implementation commissions, which I don't think he's talked about here, but he's put in justices and implementation commissions to make sure that the reforms are implemented. And then, of course, you've heard the Chief Minister of Balochistan. What better could you have? An eloquent person describing the future of Pakistan. The future of Pakistan is in Balochistan province. Wide open places. General Bajwa talked about gold. The second largest copper and gold reserves in the world. The second largest copper and gold reserves in the world. 700 kilometers of pristine beaches from Karachi to Gwadar. At least 4 lagoons which have got depth of 300 feet and more, right, with openings of about a mile across, which can actually take in luxury ships, right? So it's a mind-boggling possibilities, leaving aside the China-Pakistan economic corridor, which by itself is an absolute gem for the future. Mind-boggling possibilities of the Gold Coast of Pakistan. So that is where the future lies, and I'm very grateful that the future lies in the youth of Pakistan, which is now coming very vibrantly. I'm thankful to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sehgal sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Minister.
Wow, Chief.
Thank you.
Laudable.
Thank you, Ji.
Assalamu alaikum ji, Shauq sahab. How are you? I'm good, sir. Aapki kaisi tabiyat?